Welcome to our tutorial on creating a new form. In our previous tutorial, we added a second form to our project during design time. In this tutorial, we'll add a second form to our project during run time. First, let me add a button to Form 1. Now let's type the following: dim Form 2 as new form. And the second line, form2.show. Basically, what we've done here is create a new instance of the class form. You might remember from our last tutorial where we talked about how form objects are simply instances of the form class. Let's take a look at our program. We'll run it to see how it works. When I click button 1, we see Form 2. Now let's see how we can set some form properties. Let's open our toolbox and add 3 more buttons. Okay, double-click. Now let's add the Windows State property for Form 2. Type Form 2, period, Windows State, space equals space, form, Windows State, period, maximized. Here, of course, we need to declare Form 2 as a new form outside Button 1's click event. Let's create click events for button 3 and 4. I'm going to simply right-click and copy this line, then paste it here and here. Type period, down arrow down, and accept minimize with the tab key. Same thing here, period, down arrow, and accept normal with the tab key. Now let's run our program and see how it works. We click button 1, it opens the new form. Button 3 minimizes the form. Button 4 returns it to normal, and button 2 maximizes it. And we click button 4 to bring it back to normal. Let's stop our program. Now let's say we want to control the maximum size of the form. We can add some additional code to do this. Dim max size as new size. Let's say 300 by 300. Next line, here we type Form 2, period, maximum size, let's tab to accept that, equals max size. Let's comment out the last line, and then we'll run our program. We click button 1 to show the new form. Then we can resize it. When I press button 2, the maximum size appears. It's 300 by 300. I'm still able to resize it, but not past those dimensions. Okay, let's end our program, and let's take a look at this in another way. Let's change our maximum size to 600 by 600, and then we'll uncomment this line. This will make the point I'm illustrating more obvious. Okay, here's our shown form. Here's the maximized form. It's at 600 by 600, and it moves to the top left corner. I'm actually recording this video on more than one screen. That's why it looks like it's moving above, but it actually should move to the top left corner. As you see, the icon at the top of the window indicates that we're in maximum mode. One more point, let's run our program again. I can freely switch between these two forms. The form right now displays as a Models dialog box. If instead we use Show Dialog, Let's click outside to make sure the syntax is right. Instead of the show method, we're using the show dialog method. Now let's run our program. See what's happened? I can't really grab the second window before I close this one. Or in other words, the form is displayed as a model dialog box. A good example of a model dialog box is the message dialog box. Another way to describe this: model forms don't allow us to shift focus between forms. Model forms have to be closed or hidden before we can work with the rest of the application. Okay, let's add 2 more controls to our form during runtime. Dim btn1 as a new button. And dim txt1 as a new text box. Check your syntax now. Now we've created 2 new objects, a button and a text box. Let's go ahead and configure the text property for textbox1 and button1. txt1.text equals, let's say, time of day. Our next statement. txt1 period location space equals space new point, and let's say 10 pixels by 10 pixels. Let's do the same for button1. btn1.text equals OK, and btn1 period location. By the way, you see what I've mentioned before. When I press the period and then the first letter L, IntelliSense gives me some options to choose from. Instead of typing in the full word, I just press space, and then the word location and the space are placed within the statement. This is a pretty convenient way to avoid some syntax errors. Let's continue with our code. Equals new point, open parenthesis, 10 by 50, and close parenthesis. Once again, we use the structure point. The first argument gives you the object position from the left border of your screen. The second argument gives you the object position from the top border of your screen, in pixels. Finally, we need to add both of these objects to the control collection of the form. Let's type form2 period controls period add open parenthesis txt1 next line form2 period controls dot add and then open parenthesis btn1 close parenthesis. Let's modify my syntax above. And that looks better. Okay, let's run our program and see how everything works. We click OK. Nothing happens. Let's add some action now. Let's type form2 period cancel button space equals space btn1, and let's run our program again. We click button 1, here's form 2, we click OK, and now we're able to close form 2. By the way, if you want to add controls to your current form, you can use the keyword Me. Let's check out how that works. Let's run the program. As you see, the text box was added to Form 1 instead. And this concludes our tutorial about creating a new form.